Hi guys, how are you?
Good,
Good.
thank you.
I'm a big musical fan and I love Matilda the Musical when I saw it on Broadway. So coming into this movie, I was emotionally prepared because I knew what that musical had done to me previously. But for you both, I know you both have a history with it, but what was it about adapting it from the stage to film that kind of excited you about the project?
There were loads of things actually that were exciting because one of the big ones is that you can just apply your imagination at the material, and um, there were stages where so Dennis wrote the screenplay and
Mhm.
reimagined how the story could work, and then and together we visualized how certain bits actually might um, be shot, how many people there might be in the school and things like that, and being able to like really engage your imagination in a free way, like, well, anything's possible.
Mhm.
It's exciting. And the other exciting thing is getting the camera close to the performers. So in a theater, obviously the audience is all a certain distance away, and so it's about the whole picture. um, and but in film you have that, of course, and you have even wider shots than that. But you have these amazing things of the close up, and I think the some of the um, larger than life aspects of the characters, Trunchbull, for example, we
Mhm.
deliver that in extreme close up, and it creates a real intensity. But also this tenderness and the emotion that's there in Matilda's own experience, and also in the Miss Honey story, for example, being able to deliver that and deliver Tim's songs, the lyrics of Tim's songs in close up, was a really exciting new thing.
Yeah, and I think Dennis, this is a question for you specifically, but also it applies to Matthew. So in the stage production, one of my favorite moments and favorite songs is When I Grow Up. And I loved the imagery of the adult children swinging out into the audience and then switching it for the younger kids because like my brain was just like, oh, only the adult kids are going to do this. And then the little kids got to do it. Obviously, in the movie, that had to change because we don't have the adult children, we don't have those swings. But you still managed to capture that kind of the essence of that song, Dennis, in the scene that you ended up writing with it. How did you find that balance between those emotionally charged moments from the stage, but adapting it so that it actually works when we see it on screen?
Yeah, that was a really hard one actually. When I grow up, it was for exactly that reason. On stage, it's a very theatrical song. So when on stage we use swings, which are just beautiful because they swing out over the audience, and then there's a certain moment when the grown-ups jump on there and sing "When I Grow Up," and the music kicks up, and suddenly there are grown-ups swinging out over the audience, with full of this song, and we just knew that none of that was going to work. But it wasn't until Matthew had this idea really that about uh kids as kids as grown-ups, and we did a version where that they were like kids doing they were builders, and they were like almost like giants in one version, and so we
Mhm.
did lots and lots of different ways, and in the end we settled on just this idea of just sort of smaller things than that really, but like just kind of um things that would feel more intimate in a way, even though they're kind of crazy and big and like they end up flying jets and things like this. They're still quite intimate. You're still with that little kid in a jet going, "This is great. I'm in a jet," and that's really the heart of the song, I think.
Yeah, and I this is for both of you, but this movie in particular, I was not the biggest of fans of the Matilda movie from when I was a kid. And then I saw this musical and was like, oh, I would have loved Matilda had I read the book and like had this version growing up. And I think that this movie is going to provide that for a lot of younger kids if they didn't connect with the other movie like myself. And so what is it about this character in particular and this story mixed with Tim Minchin's music that that just makes you guys want to keep coming back or telling this story in the way that we're getting it now?
Yeah, well, I have discovered over decades of directing that the productions that really work are ones where you have a strong personal um, feeling about and
Mhm.
connection with. And right from the beginning, when I saw Dennis's first draft for the stage show, I had a very strong personal reaction. And that might be because I found going to school quite hard. It wasn't until I got to college and I sort of discovered who I was and what I was interested in. And I felt, my younger years were quite an intense experience and not particularly happy. And there's that obviously in the story, but also it's a very inspiring story for an underdog story, David and Goliath story, that somebody who has sensitivity or believes in truth and justice and that wants to make the world a better place. How the forces around her seem to be so impossible to win against, that it's a very inspiring thing when you see her courage and her ability to stand up and put so many things right. And then, of course, she needs rescuing herself ultimately at the end as well. So I find it a very, very emotional story. And I think that is why it's successful in so many different forms, because the book obviously is a great success. And the film, the 1996 film, is a very successful film, where a lot of people do love it. And we were conscious when we were making the stage show and then this film again, that we were part of a group of stories about Matilda, and they're kind of cousins of each other. And they're there not to replace each other, but to complement each other. I think, the name Matilda actually means mighty in battle. And I think there's something about that means that the story in all of its forms is a really uplifting and inspiring tale for lots of people.
Yeah, and I think this musical is just like one of those that hinges on the relationships that are in it. And I think the movie does a really great job with Miss Honey and Matilda's relationship, because Lashana Lynch is like so outrageously good in this movie that it's just baffling watching her in this role, because I'm used to her, for lack of a better term, kicking ass and stuff. And then this is just so very subdued and sweet and caring. When you guys were casting it, obviously Matilda is so important and she's incredible, but also Miss Honey and Trench Bowl are equally as of importance. What was kind of that process like, finding these characters again, because you've obviously had to do it multiple times throughout the stage production, but in this particular iteration?
Well, it was wonderful. Lashana came in to meet for it, and she came in and read brilliant in that. And I knew she'd had a lot of success on stage as an actress, and I'd seen the films you're talking about as well. She was brilliant in a different way. So the fact that she was so interested in playing the part, it's always interesting when an actor is keen to play a part, because no matter how you've seen them before, they're not going to put themselves out there if they don't think they can do it, by and large. And it was definitely the case with Lashana. She really understood what was required of Miss Honey, and she wanted to bring that and maybe do something that she was less known for doing as well. But anyway, she read it and she was wonderful. And then she sang, and no one's ever heard her sing, before. And that was a real surprise, that she's such a brilliant singer. But she just naturally exudes a lot of warmth, doesn't she, Lashana? She's a really great person. She's a really rigorous actor. So she really wanted to get every part of it right. And even though it looks like such an effortless performance, there's a great deal of skill and rigor in that. So I loved working with her. I think she did a tremendous job.
Like as Matthew's talking, it's like he's totally right about all of that. And I think but it occurs to me as well that what's amazing, for the Miss Honey Matilda relationship to work, it's a relationship of equals, and that's not very usual with children and adults. Often adults don't treat children as equals, and I've always felt that children, they're just as smart as adults. They're just a bit smaller, really. They're a little bit smaller, and they've probably got less vocabulary. But that's about it, really. My little girl is 3, and she can just suss me out straight away. She knows everything. She's smarter than I am. And I think that's Miss Honey. What Lashana brings to it is that sort of, she totally sees those. She loves those kids, absolutely loves those kids. But when it comes to Matilda, that when you see them bonding together, it really is a relationship of equals, And there's that lovely moment when when Matilda kind of puts her hand out to sort of encourage Miss Honey to come to the house, and you just think, that's what this is. This is a partnership. what a brilliant family they're going to make.
Yeah, and I think what's so fun for me, like, cause like I said, I saw it in New York and I love this musical a lot, is seeing everyone online slowly starting to realize how cool Matilda the Musical is. Cause I saw everyone doing the dances on TikToks and like are slowly being like, yeah, Matilda rules. And it's like, yeah, where were you guys? The show slaps. But for you as filmmakers and creatives who have been with this show for so long, what has been the most exciting part about seeing like audiences reacting to this show that obviously it won awards, people know it, we're all like, those of us who saw the theater production are like, yes, we understand your new obsession with it, but what has been your favorite part about all of that?
Well, one of the things that was again an opportunity and a sense of sort of responsibility and a challenge in approaching the film is that it was really important to all of us that you didn't have to know the stage show. It was a great opportunity with a film like this to bring the story to a really wide audience. That was the hope, that's what you're always hoping for. And we couldn't give them the same experience as going to the theatre. It would have to be a different version, but hopefully it could be as heartfelt and as memorable and as rich as I think, we tried to make the stage show. And so I think that it was an attempt to get it right again. But going back to the ground and building it back from the ground up in a new form. So on the other hand, we were aware that we did have fans of the stage show, and we didn't want to leave them behind or let them down in some way as well. So it's a little bit of just being conscious of all of the things, the old and the new, and the essential kind of core emotional impact and the essence of what the story is, and telling it in a new form. So I actually like it when people are like, whoa, there's a musical of Matilda? Why didn't I know about this? I think that's sort of, we're getting it right then, aren't we?
Yeah. I think for me, it's been, what has been amazing is the and totally unexpected is the whole sort of like, Red Beret Girl thing. Like, it's sort of amazing. Like, people have gone crazy for the, I remember when seeing the rushes come through and seeing revolting children on the rushes, I had to call my wife in to have a look at it because it was just so good. And like, and when you're watching the rushes, you see a take, and then you see another take, and then you see another take, and then it all stops. And I was just thinking, this is amazing. Like Ellen Kane, the choreographer, the work she did there, and Matthew and her worked for months on that. I mean, they really sweated blood on it. But it's I thought it was absolutely brilliant. And when you see that other people feel the same, if not more, that's really exciting. And also just the fact that people are being creative about it, you got to love that. You got to love, it's a really special feeling to sort of be part of something that's inspiring other people to be creative, because that's what this story is all about, isn't it?
It is. And also you have to remember that, because I love musicals, and I've done a lot of them and been in that world quite a lot, you have to keep reminding yourself not everybody loves a musical. And actually musicals on screen, quite a hard thing to deliver because they are very theatrical, and film is more realistic. So it's already a hard thing to do. And so to try and create something which worked for people who weren't already fans of musical form, or some people even, I've had people watch this film version who have said, I actually hate musicals, but something about this worked. And so that's quite a broad, church that you're trying to reach, and but deliberately trying to encompass all of those people.
I will say the only thing I was upset that was not there were the scooters at the end, because I wanted the credits to have those scooters, only because my school, we went on a trip and got to go backstage at Matilda in New York because I was part of the theater program, and I walked in because I had already seen it, so I let other people go. And I walked in as they were doing curtain, and I still started crying when I saw the scooters. And I was like, oh, I just will always cry at Matilda. But thank you so much for talking with me today. I love this movie and Matilda so much. I do hope that Groundhog Day gets the same treatment. I know it's going to London, but I love Groundhog Day the musical, and if it was a movie, I would be right back here talking to you guys again.
That's very nice. And remember, even though we don't have scooters, we have a brand new song by Tim Minchin at the end of the movie.
And it is very good. It's a
Trade-off.
very good. It's a trade-off from the Scooters to a very good Dimension song. But thank you guys so much for talking with me today. This movie is great, and I hope audiences find the joy in this that I did with the musical and the movie.
Thank you.